So it's about another week since the last time I did a video with you guys. Normally, I would not check this often because I'm doing a little R&D for grease bags. I'm trying to, put my scientist hat on and kind of check the variables a little bit more often than I would. But you want to keep a lot of air out of this because this is an anaerobic process, which means the less air, the better. And so what I'm looking for is to see how the grease bag has broken down in here. Actually, I did this a little bit different than I normally would, whereas I put a grease bag in compost that was already broken down and added a little bit more Bokashi brand to it and just covered it back up with a little bit more soil. I do have some food scraps fermenting that I am going to add to this as well. And normally the Bokashi process to go from food scraps to soil is about 4 to 6 weeks, 4 weeks normally. If you have bones and stuff in there, it might be a little bit longer. But this went in the 29th, so I think we're on the third week or so. But again, this went in with food scraps that are already broken down in the compost and a little bit more bran. So I tore up the bag as y'all saw, and we will look. I'm looking for pieces. Bag is green, so you can see that. But as you can see, you see these little green pieces in here. I definitely didn't tear it up that much, so it is definitely breaking down. I'm going to continue to dig here and see. We see another piece here that's a little bit bigger, but it's still, I can tell, is breaking down. I can feel the material getting flimsier, and it's looking like eggshells back here. Because I know my bag, I do know that the composition of it is changing, and then I can see how it's just breaking down. In here you can see all the little pieces and how it's crumbling. So to me that looks like it's going good. Now let's go in and see if we can find the pad, which is one right here. I think I have two in here. This is the inner pad. As you can see, this part is the inside of the grease bag, the absorbent pad, and it is definitely breaking down. It is pretty much all the absorbents coming out of there. The outer part is coming apart. This is cotton, 100% organic cotton, so it is safe to be in this compost as well. Make sure we cover this up. I had one in here that had grease in it, like a used grease bag, and then I put one that was not used in here just to see the difference. And so I'm going to bury that again in a second, but I'm going to dig and see if I can find one that had grease in it, see if there's any difference. And that one, and there is. This one has not broken down yet. So it is not breaking down as fast as the one that doesn't have grease in it. But no worries, because I have composted my grease bags before, and normally I would add it in with my food scraps and soil and Bokashi brand. So because I added this one in without the food scraps, and again it's already compost, so this is indeed 2-year-old compost, so there's all kind of food scraps in here that have broken down. I did not add fresh food scraps to this bin when I added these recent grease bags. So there you have it. We do see the difference. Again, none of this soil is greasy, so the grease bags are holding the oil. It's not leaching out into the soil, which is another thing I'm looking for to make sure that that's not happening. These are things that we have already lab tested, but sorry, my dogs are going crazy. These are things we've already lab tested, of course, but I continue to do R&D. I continue to see how far we can take this product to regenerating soil and contributing to, the movement of zero waste and adding, replenishing our soils with nutrients that we keep taking out of it. So, you know, grease bags are definitely commercially compostable. We are BPI certified, but we are all natural and 100% plant based. And these applications have been used in other industries to a certain extent. So, upon my research and all of my studying, I have come to find out that these materials can also be composted at home, especially in the Bokashi method. So again, um, you know, I like to give people as close of an approximate date of how long these things take to break down. But again, the Bokashi composting method is something that we all should be doing because everything goes into the Bokashi composting method pretty much. I mean, you can add meat and cheese and bones and hey, talk to Yappy, sorry. And napkins and coffee filters and all that good stuff, tea bags, and so it really really cuts down on waste. It makes your trash a lot cleaner. And I don't know, I just get a satisfaction from taking waste and repurposing it, so that we can grow more healthy food. Everybody talks about a food shortage and where we're going with the environment. One day we might not be able to grow food. One of my favorite movies is Interstellar, and so it's very telling in that movie. And it's one of my favorites because it's not only a good movie, but it's not fiction. It's true. And it's real talk in that movie, for real. So if you have not seen it, please take the time to see that. But it just goes to show that in the future, farmers are going to be more valuable than scientists. And so we need to take the time to do what we can individually. It doesn't take a lot. I know sometimes it seems like it's overwhelming, like, what can I do? The problem is so big, but it's definitely something you can do. And, that's why I was so thoughtful when I created grease bags, because I didn't want anything that was, contributing more to the problem. So, that's why I just refuse to have any plastic be a part of the problem. And it's not only, improper grease disposal is a huge problem. It's costing cities hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace pipelines when the lines get backed up because of fat birds caused by fats, oils, and grease. And people are not really aware of that even, until sewage backs up in their house or until the water goes bad. That's when people begin to care. And so, I feel like my job and my purpose is to bring awareness to the everyday person, that's just cooking in their kitchen, that's just trying to feed their kids, that really are not aware of, what they're doing to contribute to the pollution that's plaguing this planet, And again, even if you don't use a grease bag, just don't pour your grease down the drain, put it in a separate container. But the problem I have with that is that, using coffee cans and glass containers and all that kind of stuff to store your grease just adds more to our waste problem. We cannot recycle or repurpose those items when they're full of grease. And so these are the questions that I'm asked a lot when people ask me about my products, why should we care and all that good stuff. And then even, if you pour your grease outside in your yard, I mean, your grass isn't going to grow, you're inviting unwanted critters into your yard. Raccoons and such, and sometimes even if you live in the city or what have you, but definitely camping and stuff like that. People are like, I can just throw it in the woods if I'm frying a fish out there or whatever, and it's like, no, not really, unless you want the bears and other unwanted critters and stuff coming around your camp. It really needs to be sealed up and contained. A lot of national parks and campsites will put out warnings to just try to avoid grease, so who wants to be out camping and campfire bacon in the morning, they'll say try to avoid it or take it with you, make sure you dispose it properly. There's all type of warnings. So grease bag just makes it a lot easier, and even if you do decide to take it with you, at least it's not leaking anywhere. grease bags encapsulate your oil. It's designed that way so it will never leak in your trash or leach into the soil, which is why I am double and triple and quadruple checking my product all the time to make sure that we are still maintaining that quality assurance at all times. And so far, so good. Yeah, so this is a good option. People that are into composting and Bokashi composting specifically, grease bags also contains the beneficial microbes that are in the Bokashi brand as well. So they kind of work very well together, being partners and breaking down food scraps and making this soil black gold. That's what we like to call this, black gold right here. So this is very nutrient um, rich, and I look forward to coming back to it. So in about another week or so, maybe about 7 or 8 days, my bucket, my Bokashi bucket should be full in the kitchen. My food scraps should be fermented well, and I'm going to check this again, see the progress one more time. But I'm happy with it so far. Again, I just kind of threw those bags in here just to see what they would do. But the fact that they're even breaking down at all this quickly without the food scraps is amazing. And yeah, when we come back, we're going to see the progression of how these bags have broken down even more. And we're going to add the food scraps to it. And then after that, I'm going to make sure everything is completely covered here. And then after that, it'll be a few weeks or so before those food scraps break completely down. But we'll be able to come back and kind of see where we're at with it. But, we should have even more progress in a week or so when we add the scraps. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon, and I hope I'm bringing some awareness to you guys. And again, whether you use a grease bag or not, you should really consider composting at home and disposing of your grease the proper way. And I'll see you next time.